All right. Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From comics, TV, and movies, we'll go from the Mojoverse to Earth 616 to Madripoor in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the Uncanny Chris.
And I'm the friendly neighborhood Brent.
Alliance Assemble. All right. We've got, let's see, this is volume 43. We're getting to that big 5-0 soon.
Yeah, it feels like we just got there almost. Like it's just around the corner. I don't know what that's about.
I know. It's like, you've been here and all of a sudden you get to celebrate all the fun anniversary stuff. That
it feels like I just joined last week or something.
I know. It's crazy. So, yep, we're here. Last week you were on your spring break. This week I'm on my spring break. That just means I still work every day, but I don't have any kids in the building.
That's not spring break, man.
that means I get to get work done, and
well, that's true. That's true.
I get to not have to worry about someone coming in with a fire to put out. But I enjoy it. It's quiet, and I get some peace of mind and doing some spring cleaning around the house. But how's your week going? Back to work.
So far, so good. So far, can't complain. I feel like eased into it. Next week we have like 4 new people joining our department. I get to be one of the ones to help train them. So we'll see how that goes. But for right now, we're doing good.
Good. Let's get we've got some fun stuff to talk about. We've got, we got our Falcon Winter Soldier episode 3 breakdown. We've got 2 awesome trailers to talk about. One maybe just a little bit more exciting that we didn't expect with Loki dropping at that point. So I think we're a little more excited about that. But so we got the network plug. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We've got 9 shows coming at you every day of the week, sometimes twice a day. We've got my show, World's Finest True Believers. This week we dropped a Clade from Ranger Alliance joined me. We interviewed Joe Henderson, who was the writer on the Image comic Skyward. He is also the writer of the new Image book that he's putting out, Shadecraft, and he's also the co-showrunner of Lucifer. It was a great interview, talked about his career, his future, great stuff. So definitely check that out. I have to say, when he retweeted and commented, the Lucifer stands came descending. My phone kept on pinging so much from that account.
That is a good problem to have.
It is a very good show. I hope they enjoyed it. I hope they listened to it and maybe gained a few extra listeners, but I appreciate that. So we got this, and we got DC Alliance. We've got Marvel Alliance, which you're watching right now and listening to right now. We have Ranger Alliance, Star Wars Alliance, Slice of Film, superhero discussions, Weird Science, DC, and Marvel Comics Roundup. They were coming at you all 7 days of the week. We have a Patreon, so if you want to, we got 2 tiers. So if you want to throw $1 our way into the tip jar, saying we're doing good, we appreciate that. And then we have the $5 tier where you get exclusive access to early release episodes, all episodes ad free, and sometimes very much exclusive Patreon episodes. We dropped on Sunday at night our Godzilla vs. Kong review. That is exclusive to patrons until Thursday, when it'll drop in the main fleet, part of Katie's Slice of Film. So be on the lookout for that if you're not a patron. And if you can't throw anything our way, shekels our way, don't worry about it. But if you can throw us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, whichever podcatcher of choice may be, we greatly appreciate it. And so those are the plugs. I did need to plug my buddy JP over Organic. This is a new Marvel book that came out. He sent my way. A little bit of Inferno action. Madeline Pryor in all her glory.
Oh, Madeline Pryor. Oh, my gosh.
A little bit of the collection right there.
I lost my wife, so I'm going to marry her clone.
There's lots of stuff going on, but love this collection. First time they've ever collected this in omnibus format, so it collects the main storyline plus the crossovers. So definitely check out, and I'm going to switch over real quick. Check out organicpricedcomics.com. If you check it out, you can order your collected editions, omnibuses, pre-orders. JP does a great job packaging your stuff so that not even COVID can get through. If you use the code MarvelGUA at checkout, you get $2 off every order. Check him out. He does good by us, and I appreciate all the good work he does. So definitely check out organicpricebooks.com. All right. So all the plugs are out of the way. We've got a lot to talk about. I know you and I have been going back and forth about this with Travis in our group chat.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3. This was every episode has been great. I think every episode's just taken it up a notch. This brought in some we got to put a lot of tinfoil hats on tonight.
We do. And this was another great episode. I got a couple quibbles, if you will, a couple nitpicks and a line of dialogue that just really made me cringe. But overall, I mean, this is Civil War, man. It's Civil War follow-up right here. I mean, right down to the theme. Like, we hear Zemo's theme. Oh, I just tell you, I had such a smile throughout this episode.
It was really cool. I mean, I especially love it how they mix his theme and Winter Soldier's theme. And that was really cool.
Yes.
That was definitely cool. But yeah, so, we start off the episode, like we all said, they're they talk about breaking out Zemo. We've waited for Zemo. We finally get that moment to where he shows up, and I love the way that they did it, in the sense of talking through, having Bucky talk through the breakout.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, if this were to happen.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, we knew as the audience, it's like, oh, he already did it. We're just going to learn how. But I love the way he's just like, let me just lay this out there for you, Sam. Let's see what you think. And then at the end of it all, in walks Zemo. It's like, oh, I already did it. Oh, sorry.
Wait a minute. What's he doing here? I like that we get more background on Zemo. And just because, is he just named Zemo? Is he? Nope, we get the full thing. He is a Baron. He's rich. And who knew that Zemo could be this funny and this kind of sarcastic about him,
I love the way that the internet has latched onto Zemo, especially like the dancing scene later in the episode. But John Walker is supposed to be Captain America, and people are like, screw that guy. I want more Baron Zemo.
Just need more Baron Zemo. It was, those kind of, it's just that I even put it in our tweet out this afternoon, just like his dancing at that point. But it's just, all three of them have a really good chemistry together. And I don't even know if they didn't share much time together, even in Civil War. Not much. They really
didn't. In fact, I am not sure that Sam and Zemo shared any screen time together outside maybe when Bucky was escaping. When they had captured Bucky and he's escaping, when Zemo does the trigger words he tried to use here, and Bucky escapes, Sam and him may have been in the same room briefly at that point. Maybe. But that's it. Like, I don't think they exchanged any lines of dialogue. I do know Sam did try to follow Zemo outside, but he lost him in the crowd. So this is the first real interaction we're seeing with these characters.
Yeah, and it's one of those, it definitely comes off a little times screwball comedy in the ways they interact, but there are those moments that they get serious and it works. In the sense of, them on the plane having those conversations with each other. I love the whole back and forth with Trouble Man. Sam goes, he's out of line, but he's right, but talking about how this idea of what Zemo is, you almost get to the point watching this episode where you kind of have to check yourself occasionally and say, oh, do I trust him? Oh, wait a minute, I can't trust him. He's not a good guy.
It's weird. You can kind of understand the Flag Smashers and what they're trying to do. And it seems like they do have bad motives, but they are trying to help people. And Zemo is kind of gaining our trust, and people are getting a new appreciation for his character. And again, John Walker, he's the one on the outside, like the guy who's supposed to be a good guy, the guy who arguably is trying to step in and replace arguably the greatest hero in the Marvel universe or in the MCU. And he's the one nobody trusts. He's the one. It's so, I almost wonder, it's like, we're going to get some sort of, climactic battle in the final episode. That's how these things work. Is John Walker going to be on the other side of that battle?
My theory would be I don't think he's going to be on the other side of the battle. I think he's going to be in the next couple of episodes. He's going to be put out of the bubble and then find a way back in to prove himself that he may not be Steve Rogers, but he will step up when the time is right. I mean, I said that we started off with the Zemo breakout. I mean, technically, like you said, we get John Walker, and basically, again, like we ended the last episode saying, "Ooh, he's showing his true colors there," and especially when he's interrogating the guy that hid Carly and the Flag Smashers, when he spits in his face after he said, "You know who I am," and Steve Rogers would never ever say that. Even if someone's disrespected him and spit it in his face, he would always take the high road saying, "Do you know who I am?" Well, dude, that basically says, as he said, "I know and I don't care." It's just like, you ain't earned it yet. Just because you're wearing that stuff, you ain't earned it.
Think back to the Winter Soldier movie when Steve met Sam. He didn't introduce himself as Captain America. He didn't introduce himself as, "Well, come on, you know who I am."
Yeah.
He introduced himself as Steve Rogers. Like, that right there shows you the total difference between these two characters. One of them earned the respects, and he commands the respect naturally because he's a good guy, and the other is just an entitled little brat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, that's exactly it. But then we finally see it. We saw it in the trailers. We get to Madripoor. That's why I'm wearing my Wolverine shirt tonight.
Very appropriate.
We may have not seen Patch. We may have not seen him at all. But you brought this up. By the way, also, I meant to say congratulations on 200 episodes of Fans Without Borders.
Oh, thank you.
But
thank you.
I know you brought this up though on Marvel Squadcast, that the idea of Madripoor being the quote unquote first true brought over from the Fox properties and not Pietro.
Yeah, Feige had told Entertainment Weekly, quote, "There's a setting in particular that people have already glimpsed in some of the trailers. That is a setting from the Marvel comics that was not previously available to us, but it's more of an Easter egg in and of itself." End quote. Madripoor is the first thing to come over from Fox. And I know some people want to call out Pietro there. It's like, no, they already had the licensing rights to Pietro. And unless there was a compete clause, nothing stopped Evan Peters from working with Marvel. And even if there was one of those clauses, well, that was long done because those contracts were all basically, once Dark Phoenix came out, his contract with Fox was completely done. So he's just a free agent at that point. And he didn't play Pietro. He played Fietro. He played Ralph Boner. No, like Madripoor is the first. It's not even the only thing in this episode. With kind of, with the Selby character and with some of the stuff that we see around Madripoor. But Madripoor itself is the first real thing, and it's a pretty significant location in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. I mean, we don't just get Madripoor. We get the Princess Bar, which was located in Madripoor, and it's one thing to note for being frequented by Patch, aka Wolverine. The bar they actually get to is the Brass Monkey, which is the name of the bar located in Madripoor from Captain America comic book. So, they're really leaning hard into this for us fans that should recognize some of this stuff. And I love the idea that, when Zemo says we've got to fall into these characters, and Bucky, you've got to go back to who you were trying to escape. And so when he basically picks, has, Bucky go Winter Soldier on everyone, and you hear that music, it's almost like, it's one of those things, like it's like training wheels. He knows exactly what he needs to do. And I've had some people come to me and say, "Do you really think he kind of went out of control?" I said, "No, I think he was in control, but it's something that he doesn't want to revisit like that. He wants to be in control, but when he's got to play this, it hurts him internally, and he's trying to fight against that. He's trying to be better than that."
I questioned if he was truly in control by the end when, even if he was, Sam definitely thought he was out of control. Like the way Sam tried to pull his arm back and stuff. At that moment, I questioned him, and just to stick with the the X-Men related stuff, I thought of Wolverine and his berserker rage.
True.
And he'd lose his control there. You know, it'd be interesting to know what would have happened had that fight went on for 10 more seconds. Would Winter Soldier would he have killed that guy? Would he have hurt him? Would he have broke his legs? Well, it would have been real interesting. I think you could make a case for either way if he lost control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the grabbing of the arm saying, "You good?" And he kind of like had a nod. It was almost like shaking himself out of it, you know, realizing who he is. But, you know, this is what going to come back into, you know, they had that meeting with Selby. His, you know, Sam's sister blows the cover without realizing it, and Selby gets taken out. I want to come back to that because that's going to play into some of my theories on Miss Carter.
Yeah.
And so she's taken out. They go, and everyone in Madripoor is after them because the bounty on their heads. And who comes up? It's Sharon Carter suddenly shows up and saves her butt.
Yeah, and so, well, here's the question: do you think Sharon Carter was the sniper? Because somebody sniped Selby, and all of a sudden Sharon's there. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. She was in the bar. We see her in the bar in the background, but I don't know. Do you think she's the sniper?
I have 3 theories on Miss Carter, and one of them, yes. And one of the theories, yes, she is the sniper. She's the sniper that saved them. She could and could not be the sniper that took out Selby. It just depends how you look at it.
Probably is a sniper. It's a question of her motives.
Correct.
Gotta be careful. We're getting into Mephisto territory when we start theorizing about this.
I'm fully thinking my theories. I've got a few theories tonight to propose, and definitely one of them is a very tinfoil hat.
That's good. What did I call it in the chat? Mephisto musings.
Mephisto musings. We should put up a graphic on here saying it's Mephisto musings time. I mean, we can start getting into it right now because that's pretty much most of it.
It's Sharon, so yeah, let's do it.
It's, you know, so I want to hear you. I know you talked about it on Squadcast, but I know you want to expand upon it a little bit more. So, do you think that Sharon is the power broker?
I do. At a bare minimum, she's working for the power broker, but I think she likely is the power broker because when she takes them back, she says, "All right, let's go back to my place in Hightown, you know, the higher classy part of Madripoor." And she's living large. She's got like this, you know, underground art gallery that she's running, that she's selling and making all this money from. She's like a crime kingpin, right? It's, I don't know. I think she is very likely the power broker. And, you know, Joe in our chat today mentioned it, and I saw some other people talking about it. It's like the best evidence of all is her phone was not an iPhone, right? Because Apple's got their thing that villains can't use iPhones, which is an amazing kind of thing. It's like we can't be associated with evil, even though some people think we're evil. Yeah, it is kind of. I don't know what they do about Apple TV Plus because there are some dodgy characters in some of those shows. But there is some. But regardless, I do think Sharon is the power broker. We're gonna meet Dr. Wilfred Nagel here in a little bit. Sharon's gonna help them find him, and he was involved in the super soldier serum stuff. And he mentioned that when Hydra fell, he went and worked for the CIA. Well, at the same time Hydra fell, SHIELD fell, and she went and worked for the CIA. Sure, the CIA is a big organization. It's not like everybody's on everyone else's Christmas cards list, but she could have potentially had access to find out about that program and about Nagel through her time at the CIA. Then the blip happens, the snap happens. She's on the run after Civil War because she stole Sam's bird costume. She's on the run. I don't know. To me, it makes sense. Is it a departure from the comics? Absolutely. But can I see where the movie character would get there? Sure.
Willingly. It's a departure if it's willingly done. Willingly,
yes.
Which will get into my tinfoil hat theory later on.
I hadn't considered that, but you're right. You are right about that.
I as I more delved into it, I more kind of stepped back on the power broker. I definitely think one of the theories I have is she evil now? You know, maybe could be the power broker. My problem with her being the power broker is that she's been able to create a global conspiracy and criminal network of spies since the blip. I know 5 years is 5 years, but that's a lot to do it. You know, when you see that poster, the thing on the wall saying the power broker is watching, I got 1984 vibes. And if you've ever read 1984, Big Brother really wasn't Big Brother. It was just a creation by the government to, make people fear something. So maybe there was more than one power broker. If she is a power broker, maybe the mantle's passed down and she kind of took it on. If after all, if she's working for the power broker, after all, she was able to find Dr. Nagel so easily, ducks out of the bar when Sam and Bucky show up. Maybe she went off to go tell her bosses, and then Selby is shot to prevent her from talking. Maybe that. But why would she lead them to Dr. Nagel, who could make more serum with the power broker knowing Zemo would kill him? Unless here's my first tinfoil hat, unless he is not the real Nagel.
Interesting. I was going to point out there's 2 extra years there. It's not just the 5 years of the blip.
Correct.
She's been on the run since Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that says a lot.
Speculation time with Nagel, but maybe she didn't know they were going to kill them. Maybe she thought Bucky is trying to be a hero. Sam is absolutely a hero, unquestionably. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were going to keep Zemo in check. Maybe she thought they were going to keep Zemo in check. And Zemo didn't seem to lose it until he's like, I cracked the super soldier serum. I am a god. And that's when Zemo lost and was like, no, you're going down. I can't have this.
Yeah.
But maybe part of it was not just she helped them get to Nagel because of her contacts through the art selling business.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she truly didn't know exactly where he was either. And she wanted their help to get there. Now, it's a little questionable because she could have just gone on her own, gone inside, closed the door, and she wouldn't have to fight all those guys. So I'm definitely don't have all the dots connected.
Oh, yeah. But and this is one of those things that we just kind of think about. But, you think about the men who are in the shipyard, if they're working for the power broker, if those men it would explain why they launched a rocket at the container. Otherwise, it would be risking Nagel's death. As to why the power broker would send men that could kill Sharon, one could say that Sharon's expendable, and she's already led Sam and Bucky into the container that they were going to blow up because the power broker figured she could handle herself with no problem. But when she meets her bodyguard saying, and I'm going to keep coming back to this phrase, we have a problem. Actually, we have a couple of them. Could she be referring to Sam and Bucky? But why be not 3 problems? In my opinion, Selby wasn't killed to prevent her from talking. She was killed to stop her from killing Sam and Bucky. Because immediately afterward, the bounty goes out and they're put a bounty on their heads. Selby was killed to frame Sam, Bucky, and Zemo to get everyone after him on their tail. This made it a lot easier for Sharon to earn their trust by claiming to be reluctantly helping them. It's very possible that you think about it, possible that she kills Selby in this manner because no matter what, whoever she's working for, it's to help them earn their trust. She also seems to turn up right after when they in the alley saying, and that Selby's dead. That's not a coincidence. And another theory about why is she working for the power broker? I saw this on Twitter. Someone had put out that, she says like she can't go home and she mentions her father doesn't even know who she is. Maybe something's going on with her father. Maybe maybe the power broker's taking her father.
Maybe she does want the super soldier serum that's left, but she doesn't want more of it out there. Maybe part of her still is like, I want some of this because I can sell it and make a bunch of money, but I'm not so far gone that I'm willing to like let it get out there where hundreds of these guys can be created. Mm-hmm. I mean, 20 is enough. And well, we now know it's 12 because the Flag Smasher stole 8 of them. Sawbones said in the chat, Steve not getting her pardon post Endgame is weird. Not saying she's lying because obviously Sam and Bucky would know, but it's definitely strange. It's worth noting if you go back to the beginning of Endgame, just past the 5-year jump, they have on all these monitors of all the different people who have been blipped, who are disappeared. Well, she is one of them. She is over there towards the right, and we know from the outside that is not a true list of people who were snapped. Because correct. Scott Lang is included in that list. So the entire list has doubt. We know some of them absolutely were snapped, but we don't know definitively that they are. If Sharon was hiding the whole time, he might not have known. I mean, they clearly thought she did get snapped. So that's why he wouldn't have gone into the pardon thing. And he couldn't have done it. I mean, post Endgame, I guess, but it's worth noting that post Endgame, Steve was also an old man and he had gone off, to hide on the moon or wherever he is. So I don't think there was a good opportunity for Steve to use whatever pull he had to get her pardon.
Yeah, it was, and that's what she really holds regret for. Now, my other theory is, what if Sharon's under deep cover? This could be her new deep cover identity. We knew she was CIA. She could be on the outs, but this may be her way of getting her back into the good graces. A jaded ex-Shield agent looking after only herself. Madripoor has a very, very long history, as it said. It was a pirate port. All this kind of crime element going. The best way for the agency to infiltrate it is to hide in plain sight. So for these 7 years, she has found a way to infiltrate this. And what if you brought up the phone. I had brought up the idea that the phone is very much similar to what Nick Fury had in Winter Soldier, 2013, older phone. And so what if she's not working for Fury because Fury's out there doing moon stuff? What if it's Thunderbolt Ross? Ross would be the one supervising Nagel's research before the blip. And if we're going to go back, he being part of the Incredible Hulk movie, he used aspects of Erskine's research to create the Abomination. So he wants government control of superhumans. And so why not this way? So it's Sharon's job to infiltrate the Power Brokers organization, get Nagel out. And so she doesn't plan on killing Nagel. So when she escapes, again, saying we got a problem, we got a couple of them, she's referring to the death of Nagel and Zemo escaping. She can't arrest Zemo because she'll blow her cover. And the show really wants us to think that Sharon's a bad guy.
You could be onto something there, because I can't even say it's been rumored, but it's been heavily speculated that the Thunderbolts will be coming down the line. And that would presumably include General Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, as they call him, even though the Thunderbolts was a thing before he became a part of them, it presumably would include him and Zemo, maybe even Sharon at this point, as she has to work her way back out of the deep cover, because maybe just to build off of it, she goes under deep cover and Fury put her there, right? And then he snaps. And so now she just has to play it out, or because she has no exit strategy. Obviously, it's so much speculation, but you could see it go either way. Part of me almost hopes that's the way it is, because one, she could still end up being the power broker or serving that role. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, still, not a villain. Still, because it would, the ickiness of their relationship aside, it would break Steve's heart if she truly turned and went villainous.
Okay, so get ready for my last two tinfoil hats. One involves Sharon, one involves someone completely different, and it goes back to what one of the head writers is saying. What if Sharon's not just a bad guy, but she's always been evil? Maybe. In the sense of when I said maybe, that she's never been a bad guy, I said she's been mind controlled. She's been mind controlled and she's been hypnotized in the comics. We're bringing in the idea of Dr. Faustus. He was an Agent Carter, the hypnosis, things like that. So what if as a kid, her visits to her Aunt Peggy's Shield at Shield headquarters ran into Dr. Faustus at that point, or the Faustus machine, and she was headquartered. Now, a lot of this stuff, I can highly plug this one, Nando versus Movies, great channel, put out this idea, and it really started screwing with my head about this idea of what if she has been mind controlled this entire time. It dates all the way back to Civil War. Yeah. He theorizes that Sharon was under as a deep Hydra plant, and Zemo was able to mind control her with the codebook. It would pay to have a Hydra agent plant right next to Steve, especially if she was related to Peggy and earning that trust. She could have been hypnotized by the Faustus machine as a child when visiting Peggy at Shield. Why doesn't she side with Hydra in the Winter Soldier? Simple. She wasn't activated yet. The Wakandans could undo Sharon's brainwashing now that they're in the show. So we'll talk about that, because we definitely got to talk about that. So in Civil War, a lot of things had to break just right for Zemo. There's a lot of stuff that had to break just right. And here's the thing. Sharon was present for all of it. The Sokovia Accords, Tony versus Steve, finding Bucky. She's there for all of it. She's there nudging in the eulogy. She's nudging Steve to not sign the Accords. When this convinced him not to sign the Accords, and then she provides intel where Bucky is during the breakout when Zemo kind of activates him, in which it leads to the recapture of Bucky excuse me. Let me back up. This convinced him not to sign the Accords. She tells him where Bucky is, leads to Bucky's recapture, which allows Zemo to activate him. She could have also provided Zemo access to who the doctor was that was serving Bucky. After Bucky escapes, Sharon is right there to tell Steve where to find him, meaning that Steve will be on the run with his friend, setting the stage for the big airport fight. Then she provides him with the shield and the wings at that point. So Sharon is working with Zemo either willingly or unwillingly. So that's where we're seeing with Civil War. So flash forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier. She's able to infiltrate Madripoor undercover thanks to the connections at Zemo's funding her art business, giving her the financial stake and the reason to have contact with the underworld. Zemo then told her about the bar they were going to look for Selby. Sharon kills Selby, and that was and that's so that the price to put on their head, making it easier to trust her. Zemo was able to get close to killing Nagel. So he can kill Nagel. And then Sharon clears out the Power Broker's men to give Zemo time to interrogate and kill Nagel. Conveniently, the associates blow up the container, erasing all evidence of Nagel's work because some of them are working for Zemo. And the great thing about the Zemo theory is that she would not know she was being mind controlled because she could still work for the good guys and be a jaded cynic, work for the Power Broker. And so when she says to the bodyguard, again, we've got a problem. Actually, we got a few of them. You could be talking to an agent or her personal bodyguard, but that was a line that was the audience needed to hear. Now, the bodyguard is actually not a professional actor. She's actually one of the production assistants in the show. So I would not foresee, this is probably her one-off at that point. So I wouldn't say we might be seeing the bodyguard really ever again. So that is a huge tinfoil hat again. Nando versus movies, that was pretty out there, but I thought it was something to consider.
I think you need to wear like some Mephisto cosplay when you go that deep with it.
I know.
That was something.
That's a lot.
I don't buy it, but I acknowledge it's plausible. Mm-hmm. It is plausible. So many, I mean, you said so many things had to work for Zemo. I actually don't think that much. A few things had to work for Zemo, like break his way. But in the most part, I think he was just playing the probabilities and just pushing them down a path. So much from getting Sharon as a kid to, I don't know. But she was mind controlled in the comics. She straight up shot Captain America. Like she was behind killing him in the comics when he was presumed dead after Civil War. So I said behind. She wasn't behind it like she planned it, but she was the trigger finger.
Yep, literally. And so, like I said, that is very much out there. That is kind of, one could say.
I like it though.
It's cool. I'm not saying that, it's just cool to think about because like we said with the whole Mephisto stuff, this is fun for us. This is cool. Even if none of it pans out, it's a cool story to look at. My last one comes of the way of the co-executive producer statement that he made, Derek Kolstad. He said this to Script to Part podcast where he said, there are characters from the earliest Marvel movies that are coming back, and they're layering them and reinventing them in such a way that is going to kind of shift the storytelling structure, which is pretty effing awesome. How far back are we talking here? I want to put on another idea that we're going to see Zola in this show. Armin Zola. It's prior to her involvement with Hydra. Could have been he was privy to super soldier experiments. He would have been in the government and involved in experimenting with Isaiah Bradley, because remember, he was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. It could have been started up by him in the 1950s. Now Zola was taken. Now I will acknowledge Zola was taken out during the bunker explosion in Winter Soldier, and Alexander Pierce confirmed that, quote unquote, confirmed that in the movie when Bucky had shown up to his house.
If you believe him,
if you believe him,
he said it to Bucky.
He said, and you cost me Zola. But if Zola is one of the smartest guys in the room, and he was ahead of his time of putting himself into AI and the Tesseract, the algorithm, he could predict the threats, I have it very hard to believe that he did not have a backup plan, a backup of himself. So he in the comics, he transforms himself into his consciousness into a robot. So there had been a rumor that Toby Jones, who plays Zola, would appear in the series as well, but there's no evidence to support that. Well, if he's not needing to be there physically, of course there'd be no evidence of Toby ever being there if he didn't have to physically be there, if all he had to do was record stuff on outside of it. So Zola could be responsible for everything bad in Bucky's life. Zola experiments on Bucky, and then maybe Walker if he's the power broker. He recreates Hydra through S.H.I.E.L.D., and now he could possibly do that through Walker. He's not alive, and so he wouldn't be snapped out. So he could have been gathering his power for 5 years.
I think when Pierce said, "You cost me Zola," you could interpret that as like, I don't have Zola for the rest, like for right now, for what I'm doing right now, because he needs time to rebuild and get himself back into a usable state. I think I find this more likely than the Sharon Carter sleeper.
Yeah.
Well, the Sharon Carter sleeper agent, I do find likely. I just don't think it goes back that far. But
yeah,
I do find the Zola thing more likely. And we know, we've talked about it. Like, this is like a successor to Winter Soldier. It's not the direct sequel, but it's like they're definitely drawing heavily from Civil War and from the Winter Soldier. That would be a major character from Captain America movies to bring back. I think it's plausible. You might be onto something with that one.
And it's just like you said, like far back. Now, like I said, how far back we go? And I know, the big surprise at the end, and kind of like us all, what we said on Friday, how did we not see Wakanda showing up in this movie? They definitely drop Wakanda at least once or twice in almost every single episode. The past 2 episodes, they have mentioned something about Wakanda. Yeah. Seeing, Bucky goes off after they're, still searching for Carly and the Flag Smashers. He sees the, how do you say it? The Kamayo beads.
Oh, Kimoyo beads.
Kimoyo beads. And Io is there. AO is there, excuse me. And saying, "Where's Zemo?" And so why not? They're not, he killed T'Chaka. He's responsible for killing T'Chaka. He didn't he didn't go up and shoot T'Chaka, but he's responsible for the explosion. Yeah.
I felt so dumb. They even reminded us in the episode about this. I felt dumb. Did not see it coming at all. Did not see it coming at all. Absolutely incredible. Definitely my favorite ending to all 3 episodes. Like my favorite hook or whatever. Because I'm like, after the last 2, I'm like, okay, I'm really excited for the next one. But I'm ready to, now dive into him, to talk to him about it with stuff. This one, I'm like, no, I want it now. Like, I need it. I need it. Now I'm like, what day is today? It's Tuesday night, so just a few more nights.
Yeah,
a few more nights.
Sabone Sanchez, I think Bucky might be working with Wakanda. He when he makes the statement, I was wondering when you were going to show up. You could take that 2 different ways.
Definitely.
You can take it as you're late, or at that point I was figuring you were going to show up eventually, and just kind of surprised why you didn't come sooner.
Yeah, like I knew you would not like what I'm doing. And I love that it was her, that came.
Yes.
Because she was the first Dora Milaje we saw in the MCU. We met her in Civil War, and she was the first one. So I really like that they used her specifically, and not Okoye or some other character.
Mm-hmm. Especially that scene where he, move or you'll be moved.
Yes.
And T'Challa says, "As fun as that would be to see." Love that. It is set. We only get 3 more episodes left, and that's what we kind of said about this show. It being basically close to an hour. None of them have approached that, but these are, they've done a pretty good job of. I think this was the longest of the 3 episods.
Yeah,
so
it was.
far.
It's been the longest Disney Plus show period.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're hitting the beats, but I think the next 3 episodes, I think we're done with setup. I think we're going to start hitting more action and more people on the run. I do not believe we have seen the last of Sharon Carter, because the amount of scenes that she still had to shoot when they got back from they didn't get back from COVID, but after the COVID shutdown, she still had a lot to shoot. And it was only like a day or two before they wrapped production, she finished up her scenes. So
You mentioned 3 more episodes to go. If the forget the credits, if the actual story time is around that 45-minute mark, 40 to 45-minute mark, we still have like 2 hours left. We still have like a movie's worth left to go.
yeah, we just got through part 1.
Plenty of time for a lot more to happen.
Yeah. So again, that's what I'm saying. I'm very curious to see what Kalstead means in the sense of from the earliest Marvel movies. So again, I put out Zola, Thunderbolt Ross counts among that. You know, I mean, who else? Who do you think that could be out of the after those two? Who do you think has very plausible from the earliest, like Phase 1 Marvel movies?
What about the Abomination? I mean, he has his ties to the Super Soldier Serum. We know he's coming back for She-Hulk, but maybe they never said that's the first place we'll see him.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just really throwing stuff at the wall now to see what sticks. But I'm trying to think of like early characters that we haven't seen. I mean, Terrence Howard, no, probably doesn't count because we saw
Next Time Baby.
Next Time Baby. But like early characters that we haven't seen.
I've always said this. I've said at one point or another, he needs to come back. Red Skull, right on, fanboy Clay.
Yeah. I would say Red Skull was. I would almost bank on it if we did not just get Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame, but we've seen him more recently. Mm-hmm. But I would absolutely love for that to be the case. Yes. Absolutely love for that to be the case.
Yeah, that character in the modern day use of him has been stellar. It's outright stellar. He's no longer a caricature.
And I mean, the way he was used in Brubaker's run on Captain America, where the Winter Soldier comes from. Red Skull would be who I'd want the most. Let's put it that way.
Yes. I know I've done at least one fact or fiction about him coming back. Maybe not in this show, but I want him back. I think that's a villain that needs to be brought back in more of the forefront, not the spirit guarding the Soul Stone. Mm-hmm. So, but anything more you got to say about episode 3?
I just want to comment on Derek Kolstad real fast. He, is one of the producers. He basically was the lead writer for this episode. And this episode a couple times felt very John Wickish. The way the bounties went out and stuff. Yep. And even the way that Sharon was fighting all the bounty hunters, it just felt like John Wick to me. And then afterwards, I realized his involvement. I'm like, well, that connected some dots for me.
It can be that way, but it worked. It wasn't. And I've seen scenes of John Wick. I have not gotten a chance to sit down and actually watch John Wick. I know, shaking heads. Half the audience has bailed on us now.
I really enjoy those movies. I would definitely recommend them. I think they're really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got some time. I can always sit down and pop that in. So, all right. Well, so we'll take our first ad break as we transition to our trailer breakdown. So, ladies and gentlemen, these ads help keep the lights on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance network. We don't always get to choose what ads come on, but they can be a bit loud. So I'm going to give you a 3 count in order to make sure those eardrums. Excuse me, I don't even know why I say we don't always get the ad shoot. We never get to choose ads. I wish sometimes we get to choose what ads come on. But yeah, so give you that 3 count so we can turn that volume down so that it doesn't blow out those eardrums. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we're back. Podcast magic at its finest. All right, so we've got our first. We got 2 trailers. So we're going to start off with the surprise that happened. What was this, Monday? Monday this dropped.
Yeah.
We have a new trailer for Loki.
When this dropped, I don't know, 30 minutes before it dropped, I saw someone tweet, we could get a Loki trailer soon. And I'm just like, why? We just got one. It's still not for a couple. Like, why would we be expecting another one so soon? And then I'm like, okay, they knew something I didn't know because here we are. And I tell you, I loved this trailer. Loki, I mean, yeah, I've been excited for Loki in the way that I'm excited for all the Marvel stuff. But like this definitely like moved it up the hype meter for me. Like this was a really good trailer.
Oh, yeah. So we will be queuing up the trailer. There's not going to be any sounds. And Oh, and Travis has a little thing. The MA ads for me are all small interventions, like small. Interesting. Interesting. Something back going back to Falcon and Winter Soldier before we head to the trailers. Hey, would it be better from All in the Game? Would it be better for the show overall if 6 episodes were written by one writer in the way it's directed by one director?
Hard to say, because sometimes potentially, but sometimes when one voice is too prominent, it suffers for it because there's no one to bring them back in.
Yeah.
And so sometimes having a few people to work on it together, you get the better idea, because maybe if it's us, maybe sometimes you have the better idea and sometimes I have the better idea. But if I'm writing it solo, well, I miss out on your good ideas.
Exactly. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to queue up the trailer. We're going to try not to get demonetized and anything like that, so there will not be any sound. We're not going to make it full screen. So if you're watching this in full screen, you'll better see the trailer. But, we're going to, stop at points, maybe comment on things. But so yeah, let me cue this up on my screen. And all right. You looking good, Brent? Because I can only see this. Good? Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. Here we go. So I wonder how long he was on the run before they captured him. I want to say almost immediately. Like he gets to one place, then he's taken off.
Yeah, one of the other trailers, the other trailer, they show him what appears to be him like landing in this new reality, and I just kind of got the impression that the TVA was all over him.
Mm-hmm. And so this we have confirmed who this is, and this is a big confirmation from Disney. This role, I believe the actress's name is Mabatha Raw, Gugu Mabatha Raw, and she is playing a very key character, and it's definitely going to play into the idea of King the Conqueror playing Judge Renslayer. And possibly making her Ravonna Renslayer, the great love interest of Kang the Conqueror. Could we be seeing Kang the Conqueror in this show? I've been saying it's been a strong possibility even before her casting in this role was rumored.
I have thought Kang was very, very plausible for this show. I thought this would be his introduction before we go on and see him probably in the movies. We know he's going to be in Quantumania.
Yep.
We know they cast him for there. Would not at all surprise me if he pops up in Loki first. Maybe not the whole thing. Maybe it's just a credit scene at the end. But I do think before Loki is done that we will see Kang.
Yeah, it's almost like it's I think it'll be even if Jonathan Majors, who is playing Kang, doesn't show up, some mention of Kang not being in this show would be kind of a little disappointing. It wouldn't make the show terrible. I'd just be disappointed that it didn't get mentioned, because the TVA is very much involved in Kang's actions as well. I love the little jumpsuits they're in.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, Owen Wilson. I love Owen Wilson. He's so funny. I'm like, I cannot wait to see him and Tom Hiddleston just chew scenery up together.
Mm-hmm. I love the cat's afraid of Loki.
This scene here, what is with it? We need you to sign, basically stating that, yes, this is everything you've ever said.
Yeah, I don't know where that's going with it.
I don't know, but then when he says this is absurd and like spits out another out of the like dot matrix style printer, the old style printer.
And we have a new Marvel logo entrance for Loki. So I love this connection back to Endgame. Talking about we don't, time travel, we diverge. All those divergence from that one thing of him taking the Tesseract created all these divergent timelines.
Yep. Which to me it's not the exact same thing as a multiverse, but I think it's Marvel pushing that direction, getting the idea out there. And I mean, you could argue that started with Doctor Strange. We saw some of it in Endgame because we saw two Nebulas together, right? Like they're pushing us in that direction. And this is just even more.
Have this rocks cart instead of rocks on.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right.
Loki with his lovely daggers, and here's the scene we've all been saying. I guess our theory of what if the Avengers lost in Avengers? Could this be?
I like that theory a lot. Mm-hmm. And for this Loki, that loss that he had was raw because that just happened.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna know Loki's gonna escape at some point. God, him being DB Cooper, that's going to be cool.
Yes.
You literally stab people in the back like 50 times.
I won't do it again.
I'll never do it again.
I know some people are a little tired of Loki and they think he's played out. I overall I would disagree. I'm glad he's still involved. I'm glad that they found a way to do it that doesn't just reverse his death. I know some people might think it does. To me, it doesn't. This is not the same Loki. This Loki has not seen his mom die. This Loki did not go through the events of Thor Ragnarok where he kind of reconciled with Thor. This is Avengers 2012 Loki, and that excites me.
And there's our my former co-host, Travis Snell. I think Kang in the credits is a very good shot. Maybe even as a voice. Yep, could be kind of the end of the season. I think this could be the biggest Disney Plus show, has the star power of Tom, popularity of the character, and should have tons of theories like WandaVision. This has been my most anticipated one. I was looking forward to Falcon Winter Soldier. I was intrigued by WandaVision. This show, especially after I saw what they were going to be doing with it, I said, nope, this is my most anticipated Disney Plus show.
I can't fault you for it. I mean, I can't fault anyone for having any of them be their most anticipated one, but I totally get it. And like I said, this trailer I really love this trailer. It moved up Loki for the hype meter, because now there's a part of me that's like, I'm ready for Loki, even though I have 3 episodes left of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just a little part of me is like, I'm ready for Loki.
And you know what? I'm glad, you and I talked about this. I'm glad we get a little bit of a break, of a breather, between to kind of, we've gotten basically almost back to back, basically back to back with a week or two separating WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier. But again, Disney Plus has the Bad Batch coming out in between, so you get a change of Marvel over to Star Wars, and I'm good. Again, because then I think in the summer, I don't think we have a release date for What If yet, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be summer. I think maybe the idea August.
Summer is all they've said.
Okay.
But yeah, for me, this has been Disney Plus is like, I'm here for the Marvel stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you just have to have time between the Marvel stuff, give me some Star Wars. And that's what we're getting. So yeah, I'm like, oh great, Falcon Winter Soldier is going to end. I'm going to check out the Bad Batch. I really enjoyed those characters. And then when that wraps up, I'll be ready for some Loki. Yep. And when Loki's close to wrapping up, it'll be Black Widow time.
Yeah, I know Travis had asked us offline that, why drop the trailer now? Any specific reason, or just wanting to promote the show coming out? I'll be boring. I said I think they just want to kind of hype the next show since they know Winter Soldier is coming to an end. And the question that people have asked is like, when is this coming out? We know it's supposed to be coming out before Black Widow. Again, I think we knew this date. I think we already knew the launch date for this, if I'm not mistaken.
We did. During Investor Day, they had said May, actually. And
Correct.
Then the next update said June 11th. And then that is still confirmed here. I have a little bit more into why I think the trailer maybe dropped. One, it's about time for the marketing to ramp up for it. We're about 2 months out. Mm-hmm. Like that's 2 to 3 months. We're in that time frame for the marketing to ramp up. And then more cynically, if you want, for the people who don't care about Star Wars and don't care about everything else, and they're just subscribed for Disney Plus, I could see a lot of those people unsubscribing after Falcon Winter Soldier, resubscribing for Loki. And this could just be a way to be like, hey, don't even worry about it. Loki's coming. It's not that far away. Let's just remind you this is coming. And just a way to try and get people to stay on
Yeah.
board for it. Maybe that's a little cynic of me, but it's like they are trying to keep the churn levels down. You know, they have 100 million subscribers, but if half of them were unsubscribing when Falcon and Winter Soldier was over, that wouldn't be a good thing.
No.
So I mean, other beyond that, I don't really have a good reason for a new trailer. I don't need a good reason for a new trailer either. I'm just happy it's here.
Hey, dropped on Monday. Start the week strong. You know, let them own the conversation. So
absolutely.
So we got before this. What was it? Friday. We got the Black Widow trailer. The quote unquote final Black Widow trailer.
Which didn't one of the other ones say final? Which I get it. COVID changes. It's just funny. It's like they just shouldn't say final trailer on stuff.
Yeah, well, I think this is happening. This is really happening. It's going to be in theaters. It's going to be on Disney Plus. But this is going to be interesting. So I'll hit play. We looking good on your screen?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. All right, here we go. Now, I actually, we get her kind of narrating about herself at that point. I actually didn't mind the little callbacks to her life, but I also didn't mind, and I thought it was kind of cool how they had the Avengers theme kind of Black Widowized.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's reminding people, yeah, she's an Avenger. This is her first one. And you know what? A new trailer at this point, we've already had several trailers. Mm-hmm. I don't want a bunch of new footage.
Yeah.
So the first 30 seconds is like a hype video. Perfect.
Hey, remember? She died.
It's like all those trailers and all that footage we saw before Infinity War and before Endgame, where they didn't show us a lot of new stuff, but we saw just hype videos or just people on YouTube who make hype videos to get ready for them. That's what this felt like to me, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, this is our first time getting a look at, her as a kid. I didn't picture Natasha with blue hair, but so be it.
No, definitely not.
Your father, oh God, Red Guardian.
A little de-aging there.
Yep,
Marvel loves their de-aging.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna love this family dynamic between all of them. I think that's gonna be kind of the fun moments of the movie.
I think you're right. I absolutely do. But even here, like this, the action, it just looks incredible to me.
And our first real close-up look at Taskmaster.
I love the look of this character.
That helmet, it's so good.
I saw some people trying to say like, oh, what happened? They kind of botched this one. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I think this look, I don't mind his comic book look. I think this is better. I think this look is improved. I cannot wait to see Taskmaster involved, to see what they do with, is it a he? Is it a her? There's a lot of people who think it's a woman. We don't know who it is. Right now, like I feel like my number one hope is just don't kill Taskmaster.
Yeah, I my theory is he is going to be our possible leader of the Thunderbolts. I think he is going to be, if not a leader, he's going to be a key member of it. He or she, excuse me. Who is this guy? He's almost like he's in control of Taskmaster. I mean, for those that don't know Taskmaster, he or she has the ability to basically watch, and you'll see it in the movie and in this trailer, that mimics and has spot on mimicking of the moves of the Avengers or other people. You're going to see Taskmaster do kind of the Black Widow's drop, T'Challa throwing the shield, like Cap. So
Hawkeye.
It's basically, if I had to equate it to DC, he or she is kind of like Deathstroke.
Except for Deathstroke isn't really mimicking powers.
Correct. Not yeah, you're right. But I'm just saying, trying to figure out what exactly it could be.
If you're familiar with Echo, similar concept.
Correct.
We're going to see Echo later this year in Hawkeye. And now I'm just thinking about Echo versus Taskmaster. Like, come on, bring it on. Bring it on.
Yep, there you got your Hawkeye.
I love that shot, and I love this transition they do here.
Yep.
From that.
So wait a minute, was she in a car? It says that's called good editing.
It's very good editing. And that whole falling sequence just looks absolutely stunning. And I'm like, I want to watch it more and more, but don't show me anything else from it. Let the rest of it just come to me July 9th. And I
find it interesting, when they transition out, you get her Iron Man 2. Because that's her in Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
got
you're right. I hadn't
longer
really
hair.
thought of that, but
And so it's just interesting. Yes, that's their first introduction. So again, it's always this is a prequel in the sense of this happens in between Infinity War and Endgame. No, it happens before Infinity War. Excuse me, before Infinity War. Correct.
yeah, it's supposed to be between Civil War and Infinity War in
There we
that
go.
2-year time span when Sharon's running up Madripoor.
Yep.
I wonder though, this is making me wonder if we're going to get. We obviously know we're going to see her as a child, but maybe we do get other glimpses of it. Like maybe we do get a hint of what she was doing around the time of Iron Man 2 when she was introduced. And just kind of, I could almost see like a montage scene, like checking in with her throughout the years as they bridge the gap between her as a child to her as an adult in the present day of the story.
On the game asks, other possible members of the MCU Thunderbolts. I could see Abomination.
Yeah. Bucky, Zemo. I think Red Hulk is on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So not just Thunderbolt Ross, but Red Hulk himself. Hawkeye was actually a member of the Thunderbolts for a while in the comics.
A very key member, because that was when the Thunderbolts first came into the comics during I can't remember if it was Busiek or Niesia, Fabian Niesia, that brought in Hawkeye, because I know there was a transition period.
And that was around. I don't know the answer to that, but that was around the time that the Thunderbolts, like, they started off as a group of villains posing as heroes, and then they decided, like, and I don't know the specifics, but they wanted to kind of change and be heroes. Like they really were like trying to change.
Some of them were.
Some of them
were. Some of them actually liked being heroes.
And that really spoke to Hawkeye, because in the comics, Hawkeye started as a villain, and then he was later turned, recruited, flipped, however you want to call it, to the Avengers.
And that's actually an issue looking at that when he does join the team. That's a very key stuff. Didn't Zemo mention Bucky not being the only Winter Soldier? Could Taskmaster be one? Yeah, could be. But I thought, it could be, but here's the thing, like, according to Zemo, he took out all the rest of the quote unquote defective Winter Soldiers.
Yeah, which were the people in Siberia at the end of Civil War.
Could he be super soldiered up? Possibly.
Yeah, and super soldier is a broad term. Like, to me, Black Panther is technically a super soldier. It's basically enhanced strength, enhanced agility, enhanced speed, but not like Hulk level. Not even necessarily Spider-Man level, but you are enhanced beyond regular people, like Bucky is, like Steve was, like the Flag Smashers are. I hadn't thought of Taskmaster being one. I think it's on the table for sure. I wouldn't rule it out just yet. I don't. If he is, I think it's maybe not through the true super soldier serum or through an offshoot of it directly, just because, as far as we know, that hasn't been touched since, well, Civil War, up until the events of Civil War and up until the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so 2 good trailers, you know. It was, like I said, I think Loki kind of wins it just because we weren't expecting it.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's even close.
I mean, the big thing about Black Widow is showing at the end you could get it on Disney Plus, like Premier Access, like that.
Yeah.
If that like title card isn't there, the whole trailer doesn't even exist, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know, I'm paying for it because I may make it to the theater, but you know, my wife and I are both vaccinated, but going out to the theater is an arm and a leg with kids, as you can attest to at that point, Brent. But I'm still buying it because I want to. This is the one I've been saying. If they did have it, nothing against Mulan or the other Disney Plus movie. What's on it is Raya.
Yeah, Raya the Last Dragon, I think it's called. I've heard it's amazing. I just decided we did do it for Mulan, and it was fine. I mean, whatever. I was kind of like all the studios are doing, experimenting with the different offerings that all the things we're doing. And now I'm at the point where I don't even know definitively that I will Premier Access Black Widow. I probably will, but I know I'm going to go see it in theaters. So how many times? If I only go once or twice, I'll Premier Access it. But if I end up there 3 or 4 times, then I'll probably just stick to the theater.
Yeah, I'm definitely Premier. I don't think there's a question of that, but this is the true test for Disney. This is going to be the test and seeing how successful it is, because Mulan and Raya are not in comparison to what Black Widow could do for them on Premier Access. So we will see.
No, Marvel is the test.
Yep.
Mulan had other problems outside of coronavirus that was going to cause it issues, like other political issues with that movie. Raya didn't have those, but typically animation does not drive the audiences the same way. Obviously, there's exceptions to that, but in general, they don't. No, Marvel Studios, that is the truest test.
Mm-hmm. So we will head to our last ad break before we head into Factor Fictions and our comic book club. So again, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on at the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they sometimes can be a bit loud. So give you a 3 count, so you turn those volume down so you can save those eardrums. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we're back. So, Factor Fictions. It was your first episode, first Factor Fictions as a co-host. So let's see how they ranked up. After Guardians 3, we will see a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy formally join the Avengers, not just counting the Portals moment. 58% said fact, 42% said fiction. Tony said he was hoping for Rocket. For some reason, Travis Snell said for some reason it could be Nebula. A few reasons. Karen is only growing more and more in star power. Nebula still seems like an outcast of the group. Her interactions with Rhodes and how casual she was around the team in Endgame showed me that she'd play ball. And Tony agrees that was his second choice.
Okay, say that again.
The Nebula, Travis Snell was saying Nebula would be his choice that would join because Karen's star power is growing. Nebula seems like an outcast of the group, and her interaction with the Rhodes and how casual she was with the team in Endgame shows that she could play ball.
If Iron Man was still there, I would definitely think that's the case. I think I would guess Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would guess Rocket, and probably by extension Groot, because Rocket seemed to connect with more of them. Mm-hmm. And so assuming he survives, assuming he survives.
Yeah. Factor Fiction number 2, John Walker will join the Avengers. 32% said fact, 68% said fiction. Tony says Avengers, no. Thunderbolt, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, there you go. There's another person for the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, there we go. And last one, Tom Holland will not be Spider-Man in the MCU team-up movie involving Spider-Man. 24% said fact, 76% said fiction. Again, we're all just hoping and praying.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I do see that question all in the game. Let's get to it before we head to my Factor Fictions. Can you see Disney releasing Premier Access numbers for Black Widow if it does well? Didn't do it for the other 2 movies. I'll let you take that one, Brent, because I know you're big into the numbers game when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if they said anything beyond biggest premiered or most watched thing, something broad like that. But actual numbers, we had 47 million households watch it this week and nearly half of our subscriber base, something like that. I would be absolutely floored if they did that. Because you're right, all in the game. They didn't do it for those other 2 movies. They also haven't given us any other hard numbers for anything else. Falcon and Winter Soldier, they did say it was their biggest premiere. So most watched first episode for Disney Plus. Okay, great. But they didn't tell us the actual numbers. And the problem with that is as soon as you give numbers, if you don't next time, the only conclusion is next time you have nothing to brag about in a Bond. Mm-hmm. We don't know what Mulan and Raya did. A lot of people have this narrative, especially with Mulan, that it flat out just flopped and failed and was terrible for Disney. We don't know that. We have no idea. All we know is it was the first one they did, and they didn't ever give specifics, and I never saw anything specific come out of investor calls. I would be absolutely stunned if we got anything like actual concrete numbers, anything beyond biggest movie premiere or highest rated for Premier Access, something like that.
Yeah, and you have said this before. They don't have to do anything. They really don't. I mean, look at Netflix as an example. The times that Netflix actually says something, it's so broad. It's so, it's only going to serve them in the sense of they're not going to promote the bad stuff. They're not going to say, oh, well, this show tanked or this didn't do. They'll only promote the good stuff, but they'll be so broad about it. They're not giving you anything. You're like, well, of course it's a big premiere. Everyone has been talking about it for the last week,
Yeah, I mean, think back, like when's the last time we got concrete numbers for anything streaming? Netflix does it very rarely. Disney Plus, I don't think they ever said definitively how much HBO Max, how much Hamilton did. HBO Max hasn't given us any definitive real numbers for any of the movies since Wonder Woman that have hit, or for the Snyder Cut. None of them do these real concrete numbers. I have no idea what the viewership is on The Boys from Amazon. They don't do it. We only know that if it's a show that it really succeeded because they renewed it. That's all we ever find out.
Yeah. And with Netflix, if they make it past to season 3, because for those of you not behind the scenes, season 3, after they do 3-season contracts, and after season 3 it's a re-upping, and that means more money has to be spent. And so that's why you see a lot of shows on Netflix not make it past 3 seasons, because they don't want to pay the upcharge for it. It's not as successful as they think it is.
Yeah, shows for Netflix to go higher than that, it's got to be a monster hit. It's got to be like Orange Is the New Black, just an absolute monster hit that they can justify it.
Grace and Frankie, House of Cards.
So funny. Grace and Frankie, I love that show. It cracks me up.
Yeah. So, so let me get to my fact or fictions. And all right. So Bucky will officially get a new code name at the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Nomad. The only reason I'm saying that, there has been rumors, and this came from, I believe, Murphy's Multiverse back sometime last year, with these quote unquote studio houses or properties being named, and something had tipped him off about possibly a Nomad property being in Disney's future.
I am going to say fact. I do think it's. I think a name change is kind of. If you had just said a name change, I would be like definitive fact. Mm-hmm. Nomad specifically, I still think that's likely, because I think it's more likely than the White Wolf is, and he wants to move past being the Winter Soldier. I think the Winter Soldier is a better name, but he wants to move past it. Let him be Nomad.
Yeah, and this is the whole show. The last 3 episodes have been like, I need to get past this. I need to make amends. I need to become a different person. I'm a better person. This Salvo says fact as well. Next one, Into the Spider-Verse 2 will lead into a new animated series focused on exploring the Spider-Verse with a mix of established and new spiders.
So like animated TV series?
Yes, animated TV series.
They did say they were working on TV series. Like Sony is working on TV series for the Spider characters.
Yeah, and that one I just don't know if they say it, but I never know if they're just blowing smoke up my butt or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sony. Like there's maybe only one company that announces projects and then doesn't do them more than Sony does, right?
They are doing that jackpot movie. They're doing it.
They're doing jackpot. You know what? I'm going to say fact. I think it's going to happen. I think a lot of people slept on Into the Spider-Verse, and between the Netflix run and the Oscar, I think people are not going to make that mistake twice.
Yeah, it just opens itself up to a lot of different things, and you can get. Again, it could be I'm going to watch it. It could be very geared towards kids, but you can have a lot of fun with just delving into the different Spider characters. Like I said, bringing in the ones you see in the movie and start bringing in some new ones that you haven't seen before.
Gosh, could you imagine keep working together, Marvel and Disney, and some Disney Plus shorts with like Spider-Ham or something like that? Like that'd be so awesome.
Yes, very much, very much. My last one. Blade will be the first entry into the MCU, establishing a line of horror genre superhero films with characters like Ghost Rider, Werewolf by Night, and Man-Thing.
Oh man, see, Moon Knight is what's tripping me up.
Oh, I didn't even.
Because
I could put Moon Knight in there, but that I don't consider that. That kind of edge is. I don't think that's horror necessarily, in my opinion.
but I think they could take it that way.
It could, yes, it could.
So I'm gonna say fact, and I mean I'd be fully confident, but Moon Knight's the only thing between now and Blade, from what we've seen of the upcoming slate, that I think even potentially goes that route. And Moon Knight could absolutely go a totally different way. And so I'm gonna say fact. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Unless we want to count Morbius.
No. Nope. Not gonna make me do that right now. Nope. Now, would Morbius, if Morbius gets properly brought into the MCU, yeah, then definitely could be a part of that. But they're still in part of that Sony mumbo jumbo at that point. And I totally forgot to say what my opinions were. All these are fact for me. This is one of those rare times where I'm hoping and praying, but it's just Blade. There's so much potential for him, whether it be the Midnight Suns, things like that. There is more that they can do with this character. And if they just do solos, great. But I think that this could be a new direction for Marvel to kind of do something, just still continue pushing the envelope just a little bit.
I think you're right. And then from there, they could just expand out into a whole horror subgenre of the MCU. All those other characters. The Moon Knight could be a part of it, but Blade, you could have Ghost Rider would fit in there. Any Ghost Rider, just pick one.
Yep.
Those type of characters, and not that I would want them to be walled off, but to just be just to have something with them. Yeah, I'm really intrigued about this Blade stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody had any idea this was coming, but
perfect casting, perfect.
Oh my gosh, yes,
And I know because there are rumors that they're going to be starting filming that pretty soon, but we still don't have a director. So,
but wait a minute, he played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. Luke Cage's Blade.
There you go. And then
Luke Cage
and you know what? Then Luke Cage made a deal with the devil, Mephisto. There we go.
Mephisto. We got it all comes back to Mephisto. Always comes back to Mephisto.
Yep. All in the game. Moon Knight would most likely be a psychological I think that is what they're kind of pegging it on at that point. But again, it very easily could join into the Midnight Suns. So, but all right. So we'll post those on Sunday afternoon. Let me know let us know what you think. And all right. So last thing of the evening is comic book club. We've got Ultimate 6 #1. So this was this is kind of like prelude part 2 almost with this one. Ultimate 6, we've got Brian Michael Bendis writing the story, Joe Quesada doing kind of the intro, couple of pages, and Trevor Hairsine with the majority of the work, inks by Danny Mickey. I'd say this is one of those ones that I kind of, when I remember reading this for the first time, I kind of telegraphed this in my head. It's like, okay, we're going to meet most of our members of who's going to make our ultimate version of the Sinister Six.
Yeah. They give us this like sort of almost like therapy scene, right? And they have us check in like, oh, we just captured Electro. And, oh, we got Kraven. And I love the way they just go up to Kraven and they're like, you're illegal. You're just straight up illegal. And you just
admitted that, well, you didn't just admit, you got questioned and you dodged the question.
It's really cool because like the Sinister Six, I mean, there's always just straight up Spider-Man versus them, or usually, right? I really enjoy this ultimate take because like these villains are a little more ruthless, they're a little more lethal, if you will. And so I'm looking forward to seeing Spider-Man team up with the Ultimates to take them on. But Nick Fury in the Captain America basketball jersey, I can't take that seriously at all. But in general, I love the art of this. I love the story. I love what they're doing with it. When they capture Kraven, the way Thor just has no part of it, like he couldn't care less. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's just a solid, true start to the story. We had our prelude, now we have the main real start, and it's really good.
Yeah, it proves. I mean, Norman Osborn has been throughout Ultimate Spider-Man series up to this point, and how he is so good at saying, so why are you putting this collar on me? I can only transform with the serum, and why do I need this? Are you saying you found something out about me? And he's so good at trying to kind of question that, and Fury's like, yeah, stop that. No, we're
Yeah, and I mean, you can just tell he's like, wait a minute, I probably can change without it. Like, I don't need it. And we'll find out. We'll find out probably sooner than later whether or not he does. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
But Norman Osborn, to me, is Spider-Man's greatest villain. Like, of all, he has so many great ones, but Norman Osborn is number one. And so just getting to see the way, like, his brain works and the way he thinks and, like, how smart he is, how strategic he is with his thinking, absolutely incredible.
And even started off like with Electro kind of waking up from the coma and trying to remember what happened and saying, basically going around town saying his his ding dong hanging out, everyone, and how quickly gets taken down by the Ultimates, and that I love how in the Ultimate Universe, like instead of being in like a crazy headpiece costume, green and yellow at that point, it's more of just, he's got scarring of making electro bolts on his head and face.
Yep, scarring and the crazy hair patterns and stuff. And I know it gets a bad rap because of Jamie Foxx and Amazing Spider-Man 2, but that blue Ultimate look, I really like it. I really like it for Electro. So
I don't think it was. I think it was just more the character portrayal versus.
That's probably fair. Guilt by association. Regardless, even in that movie, I enjoy the way it looks. I've actually always kind of liked the Ultimate look for the character more than the 616 one.
Mm-hmm. It made it. Oh, even they did that in 616 a little bit too. When they really got away because is it the Gauntlet kind of changed the look a little bit.
That Electro. I'd have to fact check, but that sounds right.
I remember there was a more of a leaning in towards the Ultimate portrayal, not like all out blue electric. How about like Craven basically getting proven, as we all knew, was a liar, turning into this literally the creatures that he hunts.
I just flipped my iPad to that page. In Marvel Unlimited, it's page 22. Like, that art is stunning. Absolutely stunning. It's like he needs to be in that Blade movie, like this, in that Blade movie.
Yep.
Because this, like, it is stunning. And yeah, like he hunts animals. He wants to go after the biggest game. His biggest hunt was the spider. He's a big game hunter, and he's become the thing that he hunted before.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I love how, Sharon Carter, again, we can't skip Sharon Carter, as she's describing it, he kind of, mutates out and says, as I was saying, your collar will forcefully stabilize your genetic sequence. And as you can see, that isn't a pleasant experience. The collar is programmed to increase strength to match whatever you attempt to make use of your powers. It'll fry your brain to cheap store-bought tapioca before you even know what happened. So I like Sharon in this universe.
Yeah, she's got some snark to her.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we can definitely, Norman's starting to piece together what's going on right now, and Norman says, like, you have to ask yourself, why does Nick Fury want us here? Nick Fury, why put all 6 of us together? And Otto says 6. Norman, there's only 5 of us here. No, there will be 6.
There will be 6. And then I fight the urge to read the next issue.
Well, after the show, you can start.
After the show, I can. In reality, it'll be a couple days probably.
Yes,
but
it will be.
After the show, yes, I can.
It struck me too, because it's been a while since I'd read this. Mark Bagley not being on it.
Nope, miniseries. Nope. He was still, but you got to remember he was pumping out like 15 to 18 issues of the main series a year for a long time, and so he's a workhorse, but even he's got his limits.
Yep. He says, all right, 18 I can do. 19, you're asking a lot.
Too many. Yep.
Too many. So, all right. Well, again, volume 43 brought to a close. Good episodes. We'll see what, maybe we'll get some more trailers. Maybe we'll get that. When do you think Eternals is going to drop? My theory is we won't get that till Black Widow.
Black Widow at the earliest.
Yeah.
Because we got Shang-Chi before that.
Yeah, true. You're right. So yeah, so maybe correction. Shang-Chi will probably be our first one, and that's going to be
But
our
I,
first
I
look.
could see a teaser for Eternals then. So man, we may see Black Widow and get Shang-Chi and something from the Eternals at the same time.
That's gonna be a fun review at that point. We want to talk about Black Widow, but we got like 2 trailers to talk about.
Man, what a flex that would be by Marvel. It was like, here's your new movie, and we're going to show you trailers for the next 2 that are coming out.
You get a Marvel movie. You get a Marvel movie.
Yes.
All right. So thank you all listeners for coming in. And Brent, tell people how they can follow you.
Twitter, Brintac Prime. Go there and you can find out everything I'm doing.
Just there you go. He does a lot. He's everywhere. He's like a Mephisto.
Oh, jeez. I'll go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Balga. You can follow the podcast at Marvel 8 Podcast. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on GUA Pod Network. You can feel free to tweet, email if you got fact or fictions, questions. Maybe you have some theories of Miss Sharon Carter or other theories of who the power broker could be. Continue to rate and review the network on Apple Podcasts, wherever podcatcher of choice may be. Thank y'all for listening tonight. Thank y'all for joining us in the chat. Good time as always. Stay safe out there, everyone. And until, as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers.